Here we have a comment here in the YouTube comment section. Joshua Parker says, fire the Dallas Cowboys into the sun. Well, why are Cowboys fans suddenly pissed off, Tommy? Let's talk about it right here. This morning, there was an announcement, and it also came across on the Dallas Cowboys official Twitter, that they were retaining Randy Gregory on a 5-year, $70 million deal. And they had tweeted out, and here's the thing with Cowboys. They could have made it official, and obviously he signed him because he was an in-house free agent. They didn't have to wait for the new league year. However, once they got into the contract discussions, this is according to reports, on finalizing the agreement for Randy Gregory to return to the Dallas Cowboys, they wanted to tinker with some of the stuff in the contract outside of what they had proposed him to get him to stay. He already had an offer on the table, according to reports, of the same stature by the Denver Broncos. He said to the Dallas Cowboys, see you later. I'm out of here. I'm going to Denver. And now he has agreed to terms with the Denver Broncos on a 5-year, $70 million deal. And obviously we can talk about the moves, in my opinion, too. And obviously out of respect to our good friend here, Dalton Miller, he's a diehard, miserable Cowboys fan, as he would put out on Twitter. He did say that, because I said initially, I don't like this signing for the Broncos. And I'll kind of dive into why a little bit here in just a moment. But the Broncos adding a pass rusher, which was obviously there. Ed Werder of ESPN reporting that Randy Gregory was listed at the top of the Broncos board over Chandler Jones. So I kind of found that to be surprising. But this is a high-risk, high-reward potential signing here for the Broncos, Tommy. Your thoughts initially on this, and I'll dive into kind of a little bit deeper onto my perspective.
Man, this whole thing is why we love the NFL. I mean, you never saw this curveball coming. And I think we were a little bit surprised by just the size of this contract to begin with. Like Randy Gregory, for all the things that happened on and off the field, missing basically 2 full seasons. Granted, he is coming off a career-high 12 starts last season, but that is a massive contract for someone who has been, at the top of the level of the NFL for multiple seasons. He is getting massive money to do this. I get the arms race is on in the AFC West. They're trying to keep up with the Chargers. You're trying to catch up to the Kansas City Chiefs, and you still have the Raiders doing just nothing. But I think it's just a really interesting one. You did lose Shelby Harris in the trade to acquire Russell Wilson. That's fine. You live with that. To bring in a pass rusher like Randy Gregory, that is a massive upgrade. So long as he stays on the field, keeps things the way the Broncos want him to. For him to be ranked as highly on the board as he was, it's a touch surprising, but. Yeah, he got completely the rug taken out from all the Cowboys fan. I'm pretty sure someone in social media with Dallas probably just looking for a new job today after putting out that tweet. But like I said, that was kind of what I led off to. Those ifs, ands, and buts and contracts mean a lot to these players when it could be incentive laden, or it could be something saying, hey, look, if you do something if you do X, then Y happens. You know what I mean? If you could lose some of that money, if anything happens again, for a team that had really supported Randy Gregory through a lot of the things he had put the team in situations he'd put himself in, for this to happen, it was an interesting time for sure watching this go out. And I can understand why Cowboys fans are upset right now. You lost a massive player. You continue to lose some substantial players due to the contract purgatory you placed yourself in between Amari Cooper, Dak, and Ezekiel Elliott. So it's a rough time to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. But like I said, you did this to yourself at the end of the day.
Well, one thing I put out there when this move initially happened, I said, unless the Broncos add another edge rusher, I'm not necessarily a big fan of this move. And I think, and my only concern too, and there were Broncos fans oh, what are you talking about? Why are you hating on them? I'm not hating on the move. Like I said, it's got high reward, high risk possibility here for the Broncos. But my only concern is durability, right? In the 50 games he's played in the NFL, he's only started in 12 games. He has not finished a single season fully in his entire NFL career. Early on in his career, obviously he went through a whole bout of different suspensions, and he's really turned his life around. I think in the last couple of years, he's really matured, and he's really gotten himself on a good path. And that's something that Jerry Jones stuck by him, which is why he wanted to come back to Dallas initially. This wasn't Jerry Jones doing, apparently. According to the reports, this was something that was done, I think, by the salary cap negotiator or the GM, not necessarily Jerry, but outside of that, the other things that were going on. And apparently Jerry is livid. So I imagine someone
absolutely he is.
I don't know if the
Jerry
social
gets
media person's fired.
Wants.
Somebody in that front office is getting fired.
Jerry gets what Jerry wants. And if he wanted Randy Gregory here, he would have done everything he could to make this happen. Someone else caused this to happen. They have some serious questions to answer to Jerry Jones, and that is not a meeting room I would want to be in. I want to be a fly on the wall, But I don't want to be sitting across that table from Jerry Jones with that anger coming at me right now.
Oh, it's brutal. So, my main skepticism is somebody who covers the Denver Broncos. I just look at Bradley Chubb, who's also dealt with injuries and durability issues so far. He's opposite of Randy Gregory. Both those guys have had durability issues in terms of being able to finish seasons. That's a valid concern because you lose one of those guys, all of a sudden it's like, hey, who's going to step up? Now, here's the deal. If Randy Gregory can stay healthy here for the Broncos this upcoming season and Bradley Chubb can, they have a lot of potential because they also made out another signing. Last night, they signed DJ Jones from the San Francisco 49ers to be their run-stuffing anchor alongside Draymond Jones and Mike Purcell. I like that move. I think that's a fantastic move for Denver. They're really going to predicate their pressure on the edge rushers, blitzing the inside linebackers, some stunts on the interior, and also being able to send blitzes from the nickel. This is an interesting, I think, move here for this Broncos team. But, like I said, my main skepticism, I think the Randy Gregory signing is good from the Broncos from the potential standpoint. My only skepticism and concern is not from his history of suspensions. It's just the fact that he's never finished a full season. The Broncos had an issue at edge rusher with that, as is the last couple of years. That's it. But look, hey, if he stays healthy, he and Bradley Chubb, they have a dominant season. Look, I'm excited for it. There's a reason George Paton made this move. And look, for me so far, there's nothing that George Paton has done that's kind of made me question anything that he's done because he's made the Broncos better. And I guess it also helps, Tommy, when you have a guy by the name of Russell Wilson on your team as your quarterback now.
Yeah, that kind of helps a little bit.
I guess it puts things into perspective a little bit.